So in today's video, I'm going to teach you some ancient Eastern energy secrets to help you master your energy, to improve your sex life, to improve your overall state of health and vitality, and to increase your overall sense of well-being. It's also going to help you last longer in bed, so stick around to the end because I'm going to explain some information as it relates to male sexual mastery and how we can begin using some specific practices to really start mastering our sexual energy and become a very competent lover. So stick around for that. So we're going to do this by looking at the microcosmic orbit. Now, this is a framework that the Taoists came up with to improve longevity and sexual health. The microcosmic orbit is an energy channel. It's one of the main energy channels in the body. The ancient Eastern traditions understood that the body was made up of energy centers, energy channels, and an energy field. And this is what we're really beginning to work with when we start working with the microcosmic orbit. Now, the microcosmic orbit is split up into two main pathways. This is the Dumai and the Renmai. So the Dumai is the channel which runs along the back, coming down from the perineum up the coccyx, up towards the back of the skull and finishes at the roof of the mouth. This is the Yang channel or the fire channel. And this is important to know when we start getting into the sexual mastery practices of drawing that fire energy up through the body. And the second channel is the Renmai, which is the Yin channel or the water channel. And this is the channel that flows down the front of the body. So as you can imagine, you're drawing up hot energy and then you're breathing out this cool energy as it flows down through the body. So what we want to really start doing is to start opening up this channel. In a lot of people, this channel is very blocked, energy is very stagnant. The energy can't really flow freely and there's no awareness of our subtle body or the energetic structure. Most people just assume that we are only a physical body, but the ancients knew differently. The ancients knew that we had these energy centers and these energy channels, which created this energy field around the body as well. So to understand this deeper, we need to have an understanding of life force energy. So what is life force energy? Well, it's the fundamental principle that animates all living beings. It flows through our bodies, it flows through every living thing, and it connects us to the wider universe as well. It's very closely linked to our sexual energy as men, and we'll talk about the three different states of the energy here in a second. But it is very much related to our state of vitality, willpower, creativity, and abundance. So if we can learn to harness this sexual energy and this life force, we can learn to transform it and refine it as we circulate it through the body and as we rise it higher through the energy centers, refining the substance as we go. So in Chinese medicine, they refer to this life force energy as existing in three different states. So the first one is Jing. Now this is the vital life force essence. This is the kind of physical essence of the body. It's the energy that sustains all the vital functions, all the physical processes, and it's closely related to our sexual energy, and it's the field from which the semen is created. So semen is created through extracting minerals and resources from the body, but it also has this kind of energetic quality and this kind of spiritual quality as well, as we'll learn as we begin to refine this energy. And that spiritual energetic essence is drawn from this field of Jing. And Jing is very much related to this energy center down here in the lower abdomen called the lower Dantian. So Qi is the next stage of this life force. The energy begins to be refined as it rises up through the body and it transmutes into Qi, which is a more refined substance. This is our life force energy. This is to do with our willpower, our creativity, our ability to go out into the world and take action. And this is related to the middle Dantian at the heart center there. And finally Shen, which is spirit. This is related to the upper Dantian or the brain center. So as you can see, as it goes through each process, as it's refined, it becomes more and more subtle. It becomes more and more spiritual in nature. Down here is very physical essence, and here is the spiritual energy. The ancients understood that this was all from the same source of energy. And the way they describe it is similar to water, which can exist in a state of ice, liquid water, or steam. As the temperature goes up, the essence becomes more refined, it becomes more subtle. And it's the same with this energy. So as you can see, Shen, this higher state of spiritual energy here, which awakens consciousness, which increases awareness, it imbues your thoughts and your actions with this kind of occult quality. It comes from a refined source of this qigong, which is this physical essence related to our sexual energy and our semen. And this is why a lot of men practice semen retention, because it increases the amount of energy that is here being used, which can then be transformed and refined through the body, which can then awaken latent potential, increase consciousness, increase creativity and vitality. But the problem is most men don't have an understanding of this subtle body and of this energetic structure. So they might retain their energy, but they don't know how to circulate it. And then it'll either just build up here and become very stagnant, or it'll build up here and it will leak out in all kinds of directions through lust, through distraction, through chasing validation, through chasing money, through these kind of sensual desires and pleasures. So we have to learn in the process of internal alchemy how to refine this energy into Shen, into Qi, and how to circulate it through the body. And again, we do this by having awareness of the energetic structure and the energy channels that run through the body. And then we begin to develop more internal awareness so we can begin to start feeling these energy centers, and we can start being able to manipulate and to channel this energy through the use of the mind, through visualization, and through using the breath as well. So the real key here is we want to begin to open up this microcosmic orbit, and we want to be able to hold our awareness in these certain energy centers to begin to activate them so that we can put our mind into these parts of the body, and then we can begin to bring energy there and we can begin to circulate it. So there is a triangle of correlation between the mind, your energy or your life force, and the breath. These three things are very closely linked. And this is like the steering wheel that we can use to direct our energy. We hold our awareness in a certain area, and there's a saying in the Tao which is Yi Dao, Qi Dao. This is where your mind goes, your energy flows. So where your mind goes, your life force flows. So if you can learn to hold your mind in different points in the energetic body, you can learn to draw more energy, more qi, more life force to these areas. Then we can use the breath as the kind of vehicle to start circulating this energy. In the yogic tradition, they call it pranayama, which is breath control. Prana is the same as this qi, is life force energy. So they control the prana, or the life force, through using the breath. And they say that the breath is the vehicle which the life force travels on. So using our mind, using our intention, using our breath, and visualizing this process, we can begin to open up this microcosmic orbit. And stick around to the end, because I'm going to give you some very useful practices that you can start practicing today to be able to cultivate more energy and to be able to start opening up this channel. And now I'm going to talk about how this relates specifically to sex and male sexual mastery. How to improve your libido, how to improve your stamina and your control, how to be able to actually experience full body orgasms without ejaculating, so that you can still practice semen retention and still enjoy sex whilst maintaining your energy, whilst increasing your vitality and creativity. So if you bear with me, I'm just going to change the diagram very quickly. Okay, so as you can see, this man is now clearly ready for sex. So let's talk about how this energy relates to sex and how we can begin to use this microcosmic orbit to improve our stamina and to awaken our body to our full sexual potential and to full body orgasms and orgasms without ejaculating. So the common understanding of sex for most men is that you get aroused, you cause some friction, the energy and arousal builds up here in the penis and the pelvic floor. It reaches a certain limit, and then once you go over that threshold, you then obviously ejaculate, and that buildup of energy is lost. So that's the common model of sex that most people understand. But when we begin to start working with this internal energy, we can begin to see how we can actually start to get this buildup of arousal, and rather than it building up and reaching this threshold and being released, we can actually begin to start circulating it through the body, energizing the different energy centers and experiencing waves of orgasm going up through these channels. So I'll draw a quick demonstration of how this looks energetically, how it feels. So you're aroused, you're having sex, and you're starting to get this buildup of pleasure and arousal in the penis. It's starting to feel good, and then it starts to spread out into the pelvic floor a little bit. Sexual energy is very hot at first, okay, which is why we have to learn to cool it through this upper channel. This hot sexual energy is building up in the pelvic floor. It reaches a threshold, it goes over, and then it gets released. So all of that energy, all of that build-up that you've built up during sex, you've now lost. You've lost that charge. You've lost that potency. And this is why a lot of people experience this slump after ejaculation. Loss of energy, loss of motivation, feeling lethargic, all these kind of things. Testosterone takes a dip, prolactin goes up, so the hormonal profile changes, and we don't feel like really doing much at all. So by doing this, we're actually leaking our jing. And most men are actually constantly depleting themselves of this jing. And this is why there's states of low vitality, low motivation, poor health, sexual dysfunction, all these kinds of problems, because there's no build-up, there's no vitality to work with. The body is constantly drawing precious minerals and resources from the body to try and keep up with this constant leak of energy. So when we begin to retain our energy, we begin to build this stockpile of jing, which then can be transformed into qi and shen, which then can awaken your potential, increase your consciousness, improve vitality, willpower, creativity, abundance. So we really want to start mastering this energy and start cultivating it and start retaining it. But we also want to enjoy sex. So this is how we do it. Now you have this buildup of energy, but you've been doing the practices that I'm going to talk about in a second. Now, your energy doesn't hit this threshold because this threshold now has a release valve, and this release valve goes up the spine, goes through the nervous system, goes through these energy channels. You can start to experience orgasm in different parts of the body. You can now begin to circulate this energy, so there's no build-up past this threshold. You don't ever reach the point of no return because that energy is now being circulated. And now this hot energy, this hot sexual energy, is diffused through the entire body and comes back down cool. So you create this circuit, this orbit of sexual energy. And this is going to allow you to basically make sex last for as long as you want. You can choose if you want to ejaculate, you can choose when you want to finish, or you can choose not to ejaculate, and you can choose to retain your energy. And at that point, I would suggest different practices to begin to spread that energy through the body. If you're choosing not to ejaculate, you have to be doing these practices so that you don't become stagnant and so that your energy is coherent, your energy is flowing, so that you can maintain this state of health and vitality. So that's a very simple overview of the microcosmic orbit of life force energy and how we can begin to use this knowledge to really improve our lives on many levels, to help us feel fulfilled, to help us feel more confident, more sexually expressive, more powerful, more potent, more abundant, and just more life force in general. It's a great practice to start doing. So let's get on to the practices now. Number one is holding awareness. So this is similar to meditation, but what we're trying to do is to bring our awareness to certain energy points along the body. And like I said earlier, yi dao, qi dao, where the mind goes, the qi flows. So when you hold your attention here, your awareness and your conscious intention is drawing life force to these particular energy points. And as you do that, these points start to awaken. And there are very specific points along the body, which I'll talk about in more detail through other videos. And you can begin to hold your awareness here for a number of minutes at a time. And the more you do this, the more often, the more those energy points will start to activate. And then you'll start to be able to connect them. And now you can begin to create this orbit. So the next one is Microcosmic Orbit Qigong. Now, Qigong is a Taoist practice, meaning Qi skill. It's cultivating skill with this life force. It's the ability to feel this subtle field, feel this energy, and to be able to circulate it and direct it through the body. So there are certain movements you can do to work with the microcosmic orbit in Qigong, and I'll be making some more guided practices for you guys soon. Check out the video I've already made on Qigong to harness your life force. The next one is orgasmic breathing. Now, this is probably one of the most simple ones. And essentially what it is it's breathing up the spine and breathing down the front of the body. And as you're doing this, you want to visualize energy coming up the spine and visualize cool energy or water flowing down the front of the body. You can also do this by gently squeezing the pelvic floor, which creates a pump. So that's the muscle that you squeeze when you're trying to stop urinating. So as you breathe up the spine, you gently squeeze the pelvic floor, engage that pump, which then will start to bring energy up. And at first you might not feel anything. It's going to be very subtle. You might not feel anything at all. But over time, you're going to gain more awareness of your internal energy. You're going to build energy and you're going to have a better perception of it. So you're going to start to feel this energy flowing through the body. But at first, it literally is just breathing up the back of the spine, breathing down the front. As you breathe in, engage the pelvic floor. Imagine drawing this energy up the spine and then relaxing and releasing the entire body as you breathe out as well, creating this circuit. And then finally, breathwork, yoga and meditation. So again, these practices are going to help you cultivate more life force. They're going to help you to increase your awareness of your internal energy, and they're going to help you to be embodied, to get your mind out of your head and into the rest of your body. And as you do this, you start to put consciousness into the rest of your body. Most people are very scattered up here. They're very brain heavy. And that was me as well. And what we don't realize is we can actually bring our mind out of the brain and into the rest of the body, sinking our attention down. So the more we can do these embodiment practices, the more we can sink our mind into these parts of the body, the more these parts of the body awaken, which we can then start to circulate energy. If you can't hold your mind in your body and you haven't got awareness of that area in your body, then you can't bring energy there, you can't circulate energy there. So awakening the body fully is a massively important step on this journey. And that's it in terms of practices that you can do. I will be putting out some guided practices on the channel, so keep an eye out for that. So if this video was helpful for you, please do subscribe for more videos on energy cultivation, self-mastery, sexual mastery. Keep an eye out for guided practices, which I'll be putting out soon. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.